Welcome to Charlotte's house. Today is going to be a preview for the upcoming gardening season and the first project of the year that I'm going to give a try this year. So if you followed me before, you know that I primarily have focused on knitting, crocheting, sewing, quilting, that kind of thing. And in order to be able to record more videos, I need to broaden my content. So we're going to try to do some gardening videos. So if you like this kind of content and would like to see more, please let me know. A new camera also that I'm giving a try. So far, I'm thrilled with it and very excited. And the sound seems to be excellent. So let me know what you think also about the new camera. So let's go. I wanted to try winter sowing this year. That is something that I have not done before. Winter sowing is something that works only with seeds that need cold stratification. That means usually your perennials, things like Queen Anne's lace that you see out in the landscape. Well, it depends on where you live, if it's native to your area. I'm in northern lower Michigan on the west side, close to Lake Michigan. Queen Anne's lace is just an example of something that it sheds its seeds. They need that cold weather. They need to be under the snow for a long period of time in order to bloom the next year. So when you're growing annual flowers, and I specifically focus on cut flowers, there are a number of seeds that require the same process. Usually I start them really early in the garage under grow lights. And the garage is at about 50 degrees, which obviously is not snow weather, but I've had luck with that. But this year I wanted to see if I could have my very early flowers going out in the winter sowing without having to monitor them in the garage under the grow lights. So it's a big experiment this year. And some of my favorite flowers that I love to grow are actually on the winter sowing list, so that's a bonus. The winter sowing list that I'm going to discuss today comes from the website 3 Acre Farm. I will provide a link below to the article, and you can read for yourself and read more information from more of an expert, because I'm certainly not an expert on this, and see if it's something that you can try yourself in where you live. Let's see. So it's a really long list. I'm not expecting you to be able to read that. So Queen Anne's lace, also known as Ami, is the first on the list. There's bachelor buttons, which I really don't grow. I have grown bells of Ireland. The only thing with bells of Ireland you have to watch out for is that they have spikes, like needle sharp spikes that hide underneath I don't know if they're called florets, the little groups of flowers along the stem. And you have to watch out for those. The black-eyed Susan, I really don't grow that or use that. Buplorum, I have grown that in the past. Calendula, I have also grown in the past. Chinese forget-me-not, I have tried starting those in seed trays before, and it was okay. It wasn't great, but that is also something that naturalizes out in the landscape. So I think the winter sowing for that would be excellent, and then I can put group plantings out in the landscape. Corn cockle, which is also, oh my goodness sakes, starts with an A, agrostemma. And I was given some seeds for that. I've never grown it before. And the seeds might be old at this point, which is not really good. I have watched a number of different videos on winter sowing, and the consensus seems to be that the older your seed, the less germination you will have. So we'll give that a try. Delphinium for sure. I am in love with delphinium because of working with it at the flower shop. And I grew it last year. Well, last year was the second year. The first year, the flower shop ordered plugs. And so I grew plugs, delphinium from plugs for the store. And they are perennial here. So I had lovely, lovely, at least 3 foot tall delphiniums last year. Just gorgeous. but I would like more. So I will definitely try delphinium in the winter sowing. Dara, chocolate lace flower, I've also tried to start in seed trays before with terrible luck. So, and by this point, the remainder of the seeds are probably old, but we'll give that a try. Feverfew I have grown, and it has naturalized out in the landscape where I planted it. So I'll definitely do some more of that. Foxglove. Foxglove I also have in the garden, and that is also originally from plugs for the flower shop. And it seems to be kind of confusing. So I did have the plants, they seem to be perennial, but technically they're not, is my understanding. However, and maybe it was the mild winter last year, I'm not sure, but the plants did come back the next year. Some of them weren't, not all of them came back. So I'm wondering if it's because they drop seed and the new plants grow that they're sometimes thought of as perennials. If you know more for certain on foxglove in zone 5B, let me know. But I did have some plants come back, but I would like more. So I'm definitely going to start the winter sow the foxglove seeds. Godetia, I don't know that I've ever grown that. Larkspur, yes, I grew larkspur. Let's see, was that also from plugs? I think I started that from seed. And this year, when I was cutting down things in the garden before winter set in, I noticed a lot of seed pods in the larkspur plants. So I saved those out in the glass house, and I just jarred them up, and these are all larkspur seeds. So definitely doing a lot of these. And this is is it called Misty Lavender? It's that misty gray purple color. Really pretty. So I will definitely be doing larkspur. Oh, here it is on the label. They wouldn't even fit in my label, my little seed packet. Misty purple. I tried to start some seeds, and I think 2 came up. So A, either the seed is old, or B, it really didn't like starting life under grow lights and in the garage. So that will definitely be a good one to try for winter sowing. Monarda, I like Monarda. Really don't grow it. Orlea, I do have Orlea seed, and so I will definitely be trying the Orlea. One of my all-time favorites is Pansy. I would have to say my favorite annual is the Pansy. I have a number of different varieties, and so I will definitely, I had lots of luck starting pansies last year. They are slow growing, so you really need to start them early. And we take a quick trip to Florida right in the middle of when these seeds need to be going. So last year I had a family member take care of them. Yeah, it was they did mostly a good job. So with the winter sowing, I can get them out there and they can do their thing and nobody has to take care of it or watch it. So I don't know that I'll do all my pansy seeds that way. Maybe I'll do both. I'll do some inside and have it in an area where it's easy for my family to take care of. And I'll have a bunch outside for winter sowing. Poppies, probably I would guess, one of the classic candidates for winter sowing. You may, if you watch gardening videos, you may have seen a number of gardeners that live in the northern climates just sprinkle the seeds out in the snow at the end of January into February. And that's because the poppies need that cold time before they can germinate. So hands down, yes, poppies. Some of my seeds are a little older, so we'll see. And I really have not had much luck trying to propagate those in the garage. Scabiosa, I have grown in the past. Yeah, it's not really something I spend my give space to. Second, probably, second place is a tie between, for me, Snapdragons and Cosmos. Between my two favorite, but then there's Dahlias. Yeah, second place might be a three-way tie of my favorite cut flowers to grow. But we're talking about winter sowing. So snapdragons. And if you want to try snapdragons, it's important to learn that snapdragons have 4 different classifications. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And not all packets label which classification it is, so you need to do a little digging to find out. So class 1 snapdragon is the earliest. They like the coldest weather, the shortest days, that kind of a thing. Class 4 likes the warmer weather, longer days. So I will definitely try, not all my seeds, but I do have a lot. Oh my gosh, the sun moved and the lighting is terrible. There we go. No, I'm not directly in the sun. So sorry, I was looking at the camera, not at the screen. So anyway, yes, snapdragons, I won't start all of them, but I have a lot. As a matter of fact, I just had more seed arrive today for snapdragons, and these are pelleted seeds, which does make them easier to handle. I don't usually get pelleted snapdragon seeds, but they are tiny, 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 like specks of dust, like yeast. If you've ever baked or something and you need yeast for bread, it's tiny, like even smaller than yeast. But these are pretty, so I just got these in today. I looked on Etsy, and I was actually looking for Japanese pansy seeds, and of course found so many other things. These are all from Etsy. So if you go on Etsy, you can find some lovely seeds. So snapdragons, make sure you divide them into class if you start seeds. Start with class 1 for sure. Class 1 and 2 probably are interchangeable, at least where I live in zone 5B. And then I'll save 3s and 4s to start in trays later on. What do I have? Oh, yeah. But let's see. So I could just go off. I was going to talk about zinnias, but they are not suggested for winter sowing, so we're not going to talk zinnias today. Stay focused. Okay, violas. Yeah, a lot of these are zinnias. That's a zinnia. Lisianthus, which I do not see on 3 Acre Farm's list, but I did see someone else start Lisianthus via winter sowing. Maybe they lived in a warmer area. I'm not sure, so I was kind of trying to decide, but Lisianthus take forever. Like I could start them this week to be planted out in May. That's how long they take to grow. So I need to think about this and decide. I grew them before, but they were from plugs, which was way easier. But I would like to try them from seed again. So we'll see what happens. It says start Lisianthus indoors in a warm area. Cell tray, 1/4 inch deep water well. They need humidity, soil temperature 65 to 75 to germinate. Yeah, I don't know why somebody else was winter sowing these. So I'm probably not going to winter sow these, but I am going to start them early and make sure I have a dependable person to watch them while we're gone. Sweet peas. The sweet pea site that I had previously bought all my seeds from was, and I didn't realize it, but it was a website by Farmer Bailey. Ooh, look at those. Wow. Swallowtail Gardens. I have purchased seed from them before and really liked it. Oh, wow, look at that one. Blue velvet. Wow. Anyway, so, and I printed it out. If I can find the website, that previously was Farmer Bailey, I will let you know. But I've been, last few years, I've been following those instructions for starting my sweet peas. So pretty much you start them indoors in cool, like dark and cool. And as soon as they sprout, you put them outside. So in my area, it would be the end of March. And they can go into the 20s. If it was going to be low 20s, you should probably take them in at night. But they can handle down to 22 or something like that. And it was, again, the cold growth that caused them to, because if you start them indoors and under grow lights, they can get leggy, especially if it's nice and cozy warm under those lights. They're just going to shoot up, and then you have to pinch them to get more growth and all of that. So by putting them outside in March, they focus more on growing roots instead of upwards because it's so cold. And you put them in direct sun out in 30-degree weather. And then when they do start growing, they automatically branch themselves, so you don't have to pinch them. And that did work. I've had success with that. So a 4-inch pot, you can put 20 seeds. And so there's been a lot of talk about the root trainers and all of these things. And I had really no problems. I mean, you don't want to be rough with them, but if you have a 4-inch, tall 4-inch pot, put 15 to 20 seeds in. They should have nice long roots when you take them out, and then you just casually, carefully separate them, and you're fine, and then they take off. One thing I haven't, that I really want to work on this year, is making sure that I amend the soil really, really well for the sweet peas and fertilize them more often and see what happens there. Also, when I grow sweet peas, I take all of the bottom leaves off, and that puts more production into the top of the plant and sending out flower spikes instead of maintaining all of the leaves all the way up the plant, because you don't need those bottom leaves anyway. So I cut those off. All right, so sweet peas. Yeah, I'm not going to put all of my sweet peas. I do have a very large sweet pea seed collection. I have one of those salad containers that are not the long rectangular ones, but the ovally mid-sized ones. That is like bulging with sweet pea seeds. And I keep that in, we have a spare refrigerator, so it's a beverage refrigerator, so I keep that in the refrigerator all year long. Sweet peas, so Sweet William. Yes, I am newly in love with Sweet William. I grow the taller variety for cut flowers. I mean, they were 15 to 20 inches tall, and just that old-timey romantic flower head with the splotches, and one of my new favorites. I really like growing that. The plants that I originally started from seed did come back in the garden, and then I planted more last year that I started from seed. So we will see if all of those come up, but I will try these for winter sowing also. And finally on the list is yarrow. Now that one, you could imagine that would be an excellent choice, because if you have yarrow growing out in the landscape, or if you see it somewhere, once it gets out in the landscape, it just grows and grows and grows. So that will be definitely one that I grow, and I will put it in the landscape, not in the cut flower garden. So I will definitely probably use all of my yarrow seeds and see what I can do there. Love Parade, that is a variety that I started from seed last year and put it out in the landscape. So I will be interested to see how well that comes back. For cut flower arrangements, it's just different. It's pretty. It's not whimsical, but it's just, it's not really old-timey either. But it's just a really nice addition to cut flower bouquets. A lot of winter sowing gardeners use milk jugs. Well, we don't buy our milk in the standard gallon milk jugs. So I have collected a variety of other containers. Actually, these are containers that I usually use. for seed starting anyway. My daughter went to this place and her cup was in the sink to go in the recycling, and I said, hey, and it comes with a lid, and I'll make the drainage holes a little bit bigger on top. So this will be great for winter sowing. You want to use a container that's either transparent or opaque, nothing solid that blocks out light. So that'll be great. And you want a lid also because you just want a little bit of water to get in, not just open to the elements and totally drenched. Now this is probably a little too solid, but it did come with a transparent lid. This is a yogurt container, so I thought I would try that. And let's see, produce fruit container. It does not have a lid, so I will probably put a number of layers of saran wrap over top. And then a berry container already has all the things. It's got holes all the way around the edge, holes on the back. So we'll give that one a try. Really lots of, you could probably look in your refrigerator right now and you probably have lots of containers you could use. A cracker container. And these are anything that already has a lid with it is an excellent choice. Again, some salad containers. I'll have to put saran wrap on the lid. And this was another, I might not use this one for winter sowing because this is an excellent one for starting tomato seeds. And I don't start them in individual containers. I multi-sow. I don't know if that's the proper term. So I'll put probably here, I could put 20 tomato seeds. You just sprinkle them on, and then I use popsicle sticks to divide the rows. And make sure you label them, of course, also. And then when it's time to transplant them to a pot, small pot, you don't want to go right up to a big 4-inch pot when you just have a little tiny seedling. You need to bump it up to a small pot. And tomato seeds are the easiest thing in the world to transplant. So you pretty much, I kind of scoop out the whole row like a log and then pull it gently, tease it apart, and put the tomato seeds in. About halfway up the stem, and then that encourages more roots off the stem. And then after roots are coming out the bottom on the small pot, it's probably a 2-inch pot. Once the roots, and it doesn't take long, a few weeks, once the roots are coming out of the bottom of those pots, then I bump them up to a 4-inch pot. And again, I go halfway up the stem for even more root growth. I love growing tomatoes ever since the pandemic. I have been growing 500 to 800 tomato plants, and then I have a plant sale in the spring. And in my area, the weekend that pretty much is considered safe to plant your garden is Memorial Weekend. So I looked it up, and we have a 50-50 chance of a last frost by Memorial Weekend, which is crazy. And we have had, it was either, I think it was maybe 2021, we had a hard killing frost in June after everybody had their gardens in. And that was a bonanza for me because everybody lost their tomato plants. So all the locals that knew I was at the farm selling plants had to come by and replace all their tomato plants. So that worked out well for me for the tomato sale. Okay, so I'm going to stop here for today, and I'm going to practice my editing thing and get this part edited. And then next week, I will actually start the winter sowing. I don't know that it makes a huge difference, but I have seen on the videos that I've watched in my area for 5B, you should wait till pretty much the end of January to start winter sowing. I don't know why that makes a difference, why I couldn't start now, which is January 8th, but I'll wait at least till next week and get some things going. That is it for today. I love the new camera. Let me know what you think about the color and the sound. Got my fancy little microphone on. I look forward to sharing more gardening videos and showing you the glass house and how things grow this year. So thank you and have a great day. Bye.